So lots of memories of just having fun with Dad and Mom, like Sunday nights after Sunday night church. Dad would say, hey, you want to stop at the ice cream place? And we'd just get ice cream, or we'd come back and we'd call them snick snaps at home. And it was just really, really cool.
Did you say snick snaps or snick snacks?
Snick snacks.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. I remember going to that Brandywine Museum. You remember that? And we'd be walking along the river. I don't remember, I think it was Dad, but I think he just said, hey, let's all just walk like this. And we did. And we were walking like this, just with our hands, walking down the trail with people going by us. And Mom's going, Keith. And we're just giggling and laughing like it's so funny. I mean, Dad really was silly in some ways, you know? He really let his hair down.
We saw their heart for Jesus, you know, like just so many good memories of him singing songs to me by my top bunk bed at night, you know, in his low voice.
Scratching our back while he sings Edelweiss.
Yes.
But singing Praise the Lord version of Edelweiss, and then praying with us.
One of my favorite memories is Dad reading the Narnia Chronicles to us. But not just reading it in every voice, that somehow he managed to create this imaginative moment, and you could picture it. And I just remember all of us crowding with Dad under the top bunk on the bottom bunk, and it just felt like this just amazing time, and Mom joining us as well for that.
Yeah, I remember having baseball catches with him before dinner. Like, he might have to go back out later at night. This is, you know, when he was pastoring, but he'd come back in time to have a catch in the backyard, and that was just I loved it.
That was the greatest. We'd fight over who could catch with Dad.
They'd always prayed that we'd be God's first and theirs second, and I think they lived like that. But I remember, you know, when I first went to the Middle East right after university, I think Dad told me later his heart dropped initially when I told him where I was going.
Yeah.
And this is right about when 9/11 is happening. It's literally when I was raising support to go to that area of the world. And so it was put to the test. But, you know, to his credit, I never knew at that time how much he was letting go and trusting God with us. Part of how they shared the gospel really was just inviting people into their life, and so, which meant inviting people into our life. I feel like hospitality, I mean, if I could say one thing about their ministry, it's just a generousness of their things, of their time, of their life, that just a giving, and they invited us into that. But it was fun, we enjoyed it, to the point of sometimes they would usually give up their bed, go sleep in the living room, or even at times it was so full they would go over to the neighbor's house to sleep so they could have more people into our house, which was tiny, you know?
Yeah. But there was all those seeds that were being sown that we didn't know at the time, like, you know, the hospitality, all the missionaries that visited our little church, it feels like they ended up eating dinner at our house. So I have all these memories of eating strange foods with people, and, you know, Dad's friends from India, from seminary, and from Mexico. And I was getting exposed to that stuff. And then, you know, good friends of his that, you know, their son stayed then with us when he came back and went to university in America. And I didn't know at the time, but that was all influencing my picture of the world, that there's a bigger world out there.
There was this antithesis of selfishness. You know, I don't ever remember, you know, them trying to put themselves first. It was always a selflessness, which was modeled for us, and we witnessed it, not just a thought, but actually in deed.
The church was like the extended family for us. It wasn't like work. That was like our family, our uncles and aunts, and they became like mentors. So it really wasn't just Mom and Dad. It was all the people that Mom and Dad taught us to love. Yeah, and I think they really taught us to be committed to the church, and we needed that later. But I know we'd go on holidays, and we were always going to church. We went on holidays, and then when Dad had to step away from like full-time ministry, like the next Sunday, we went to 3 different churches on the next Sunday, and then they got involved in serving, and they weren't getting paid for it. It wasn't like their day job, but they just got involved serving from then. And I remember too, you just learn from these things. One time, someone told me that, in that season when, Dad was maybe not doing the day job that he'd prefer, but really persevering through that. Somebody told me, many years later, they watched Dad do that, and it really just taught him what it was like to be a humble servant, and provide for the family, and even when it wasn't what you're preferring. And man, that was so powerful to me too, because it made me realize that would be okay. Like if that happened to me, it was okay. Life would go on, and God would open up different doors.
I can't imagine hanging out with mom without dad, or dad without mom. It's mom and dad are a unit. And and as a woman, as a daughter, being raised by parents in ministry, just seeing that Dad was never threatened by mom's gifts, and she really supported him. And it wasn't like his ministry, it was always their ministry. It was and it wasn't even really a job. Even when it was a job, it wasn't a job, but there was a lot of time where he didn't have a job in ministry, but their lives were still ministry, and it was always them together, and then us as a family behind them.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I think about them as a couple, now as an adult and marriage and family therapist. What is my model for helping families? And I guess I just want to say that mom and dad weren't perfect. We definitely saw the messy times. We really did. And we weren't shielded from that in we were in a healthy way, actually. There were some things we didn't hear, but when we saw the mess, we saw the mess. But we also saw a quick willingness to forgive, hugs. I remember hugs in the dining room or in the kitchen, and just tenderness between them. And I think, wow, what a model for us to not have to be perfect. And I don't think there was a disconnect between what was talked about the Christian life and what was lived as the Christian life. And many times when I sit with families now, that's a model for me, and I'm so blessed to have it.